Mayoral candidate Mitzie Hunter is unveiling her plan to build affordable housing in the city. We'll take you live now to this announcement.
My plan is different, it's big, and it's bold, and it is also responsible and well thought through. Most importantly, it is all about results. Results for people so that they can find an affordable home to rent or to buy. My plan doesn't double down on the failures or the inaction of the past that can be measured by the complete lack of results. My plan provides a brand new way forward. My plan does not depend upon the false promises and illusions promoted by other candidates that other governments are going to rescue Toronto. When has that happened, except for maybe during COVID? Because my plan grabs the responsibility of providing affordable housing and bringing it under our control. Control by us, the people of Toronto. Because we can do it if we make the choice to do so. And that choice is what I am presenting to you today. It is the central reason why I am running to be your mayor. Today, I am announcing a 5-point plan to get more affordable housing more quickly. And here is how it works. 1, we will unlock public lands for affordable housing. On my first day as mayor, I will issue a proclamation that there is no such thing as surplus land in the city. We need to make it clear to all that there is no greater priority than leveraging city properties to develop as much affordable housing as possible. The centerpiece of my plan is a new Toronto Affordable Housing Corporation. This new corporation will be responsible for the development of public land, of purpose-built, below market rate rental apartments and affordable home ownership units. It will be a phase 1 target of delivering 22,700 units by the end of year 6, providing housing for approximately 53,650 people. 2, we will end the multiplex ban. This means that we will be building the missing middle by enabling Montreal-style, low-rise multiplexes of up to 4 units on every residential lot in Toronto as of right. This will increase rental and buying opportunities across Toronto and better accommodate multi-generational families. The city will also provide up to $100,000 in forgivable, low-interest loans for the cost of renovations or additions to create the multiplexes. The annual payment will be forgiven every year that the unit is rented at below average market rent. 3, we will add rental apartments on major streets and near campuses. This means that we will permit apartment buildings of up to 8 stories along the more than 1,200 kilometers of city roads that are deemed major streets, as well as in a new student housing zone. 4, we will speed up building approvals and construction. We will do this by hiring 15 more city planners and expedite development applications reviews to get new housing approved more quickly. 5, we will protect renters and save current affordable housing units. We will do this by creating a tenant advocate, We will also ensure all rentals on city land are subject to annual rent control limits and advocate to the province to bring rent control to all units across the city. Increase eviction prevention services by expanding the EPIC program, which prevents vulnerable rental households from losing their homes. We will also triple the rent bank to $15 million per year. My plan is the most detailed, practical, and comprehensive plan issued by any mayoral candidate. My plan draws on my experience as the CAO of Toronto Community Housing Corporation, prior to becoming the MPP of Scarborough-Guildwood and a cabinet minister. Detailed, practical, comprehensive, my plan gets the job done. My plan is fully costed with a net cost of $166 million over the next 2 years. I am committed to presenting a detailed budget prior to voting beginning in June. Toronto, we can do this, and we must do this. And if we are to have a city that works for everyone, everywhere, we must grow the supply of affordable housing for renters and owners alike, and not just hoping to create conditions that will happen. The verdict is in. It hasn't worked, and everybody knows it. So let's grab control of the levers as a city that gets it done. The city has to be the quarterback when it comes to affordable housing. We can't leave it to the developers. The city has to be the leader when it comes to affordable housing. We cannot leave it to developers. The city has to be the designer, the project champion, and ultimately the building owner to deliver more new affordable housing more quickly for people who need it most. Toronto is at a turning point. We must not let it become a breaking point. I want to turn Toronto around for the better, and that's why I am running to be your mayor. The Toronto that we want is where young people who grow up here can afford to live here. Where we can get to where we want to go safely. Where we get the services that we need, no matter who we are or where we live. With fixed housing, fixed transit, and fixed services. This campaign is about Toronto. It is about time. Time for change, time for action, and join me, because it's time that we fix the six together. It's time we bring more people on the outside, inside City Hall. That's who I am. That's what I've done in Scarborough, in business, at Toronto Housing, and as a cabinet minister for the most challenging portfolios. I'm running to be the mayor of Toronto because I want to lead Toronto's revival as a city that works for everyone, everywhere. Thank you. I will take questions that you have.
You said this budget cost $166 million over the first 2 years, I think it was. Can you elaborate on where that money will come from?
Yeah, absolutely. So I've presented today a very detailed proposal platform for the Toronto Housing Corporation, and so we will have a portion of that will come from operating and a portion that will come from the reserves as well.
But the source of funding will come through raising taxes or some revenue tools?
So I have committed to providing a fully costed budget to substantiate my platform prior to voting beginning in June. And so that is something that I have committed to doing, and I look forward to sharing that with all of you.
Can you elaborate a bit on what this community housing corporation would do that Toronto community housing is not already doing?
Oh, absolutely. So what we will be doing is looking at available public lands oftentimes there is already an amenity on those lands, like a library, a police station, and those lands will be devoted to building affordable housing. We will be building housing that is 2/3 average market rate or below, in some instances deeply below average market rates. We need to make sure that we're creating a spectrum of housing in this city. The city needs to be livable. I already started my housing plan with a homelessness strategy. Too many people are falling off the housing ladder and falling into homelessness. There is also an urgency with those that are more in the middle of the income spectrum who have found that they cannot even find a decent, affordable apartment to rent. And so my plan is about the city taking ownership of that. We have to be the quarterback as well as the owner when it comes to building more affordable housing units. So the Toronto Affordable Housing Corporation will be the entity that brings that together for the city, ensures that we construct these units. They will also be standardized so that we can cut through all of the delay when it comes to projects getting approvals. There will be standard sizes, and the corporation will have the responsibility to oversee that.
So just to clarify a bit, is this a distinct entity from the Toronto Community Housing Corporation, or would it absorb that, or would this be the builder and then TCHC would manage them, or what?
Yeah, at this stage, it is not my plan to change the structure of TCHC. TCHC provides affordable, supportive housing and rent geared to income housing for individuals. It will remain that landlord of last provider. It's an essential function that it will have. My plan, in fact, allows TCHC to perhaps look at opportunities for laneway or garden suites where we can add more units and make sure that they have the ability to do that. But from how the corporation operates, no. The Toronto Affordable Housing Corporation will be separate, and it will be creating affordable housing on a spectrum, because we really need that in our city. A person who is a teacher or works as a nurse in our city ought to be able to afford to live here, and so we need to have housing on that spectrum, and that's what this corporation is designed to do, really looking at the city taking charge of its publicly available lands, and rather than handing that over to private developer in terms of ownership, the city will retain that ownership, build those units. Some will be for renting, some will be sold, and that money will go right back into the corporation to reinvest in affordable housing.
When it comes to the part of your plan that deals with Montreal-style walk-ups and fourplexes and whatnot, can you highlight any of the significant differences in your eyes between what's being discussed at Toronto City Hall right now in allowing multiplexes and what you're proposing?
So I'm looking at these amazing streets that we have, the 1,200 kilometers of major streets in Toronto that have good access perhaps to public transit services and amenities. And I'm saying we need to actually have more density along those major streets and ensure that we're building communities as well in our city. And so it's really giving an opportunity for that intensification along those corridors where we already have access to public transit, access to services and amenities. We just need to make sure that more people get the chance to live here in our city. We have certainly immigration that's coming into our city on an annual basis, and people need to be able to live here. Those who grow up here, study here, work here also need to be able to live here, and this gives the opportunity for greater density, moving it to 8 stories, and the multiplexes within neighborhoods, looking at that missing middle portion of it. We're looking at existing established neighborhoods that could perhaps add 1 or 2 or 3 more units to fill out that missing middle, and to give people opportunities to utilize, perhaps their family has moved out and they have extra space, they want to renovate. We're providing some funds available that they can access to do that, as long as it is rented at average market rates or below.
Okay, we've been listening in to mayoral candidate Mitzie Hunter live at Yonge and Davisville making an affordable housing announcement, revealing her 5-point plan to create Toronto's Affordable Housing Corporation. This would cost $166 million over the next 2 years and include things like unlocking public land and creating the new Toronto Housing Corporation and also ending the multiplex ban.